Hello, welcome to this update for the U.S. and Canada. So let's see what's happening because this severe weather that's built in the next few days will also bring the threat for some flooding and more systems later. So let's take a look. First, the severe weather. We have a marginal risk right today for Friday, November 1st. So parts of New Mexico and Western Texas. Uh, the tornado threat is less than 2%, but the wind threat is 5%, and also some hail threat as well. So let's see. Isolated severe hail and wind gusts are possible across parts of the southern high plains this evening into overnight. So be aware that in Texas, New Mexico, in those areas. So let's just show the storms here in the HUR. So there's like here. So this is now Friday. It shows that system in the northwest, more rain there, and snow throughout the Pacific Northwest. Some rain in parts of New England too, shows there, and those like a thunderstorm or two in Louisiana and parts of the Gulf there. Shows a system in parts of South Dakota and Minnesota, some rain there too. But shows like especially later overnight, some storms to central western Texas there. So later shows more. This is already like way overnight, almost tomorrow morning. Shows some storms firing in New Mexico there, and shows more storms throughout New Mexico tomorrow afternoon, and especially later. So this is still like tomorrow morning, like 10 a.m. or something. So already shows some bigger storms in New Mexico. Some of them might be severe, especially in terms of wind and hail, and then shows throughout the early afternoon, the line of storms moves through northern Texas and Oklahoma, Kansas, and this like later in the afternoon, when we might have more severe storms popping up through western Texas, New Mexico, and those areas. So let's see, but be careful with the big line of storms for like Oklahoma, Kansas, and Texas too. So be aware, those areas starting tonight, right? And even this evening, show that northern Mexico, if you are in northern Mexico, be aware, might be some stronger storms there too. So let's see here. So this is today. Tomorrow for Saturday, we already have a slight risk there. Parts of southeastern New Mexico, Texas, and Oklahoma, and the marginal from like Texas to southern Kansas. So be careful there. The tornado threat is 5% already Texas and New Mexico tomorrow, and 2% all the way to central Oklahoma. So be careful there with the tornado potential. Wind threat 15 and 5%, a smaller 15%. Beware of the wind, and hail threat is also 15 and 5%, but there's that hatch there for potentially some severe hail. And that's interesting because if you take the HUR here, you see that big line of storms, but later in the evening, let's like show you a little bit further. So there'll be this initial line of storms here, but you see these little storms firing behind it. So those storms might be the troublemakers in terms of like tornado potential and severe hail. Those small storms behind it might be severe. So be aware, be careful tomorrow there. So let's see. There's isolated severe storms expected Saturday night across parts of southern Great Plains. Most likely corridor for a couple of tornadoes and large hail across parts of Permian Basin and South Plains of Texas during late afternoon and early evening. So be careful those areas tomorrow. Have some way to receive alerts and everything. Now day 3 is still a slight risk from Texas to southern Nebraska. So and a marginal from like central Texas to central Nebraska. So be aware there for day 3. This first Sunday already a slight risk. Probabilistic just 5 and 15%. So let's see, scarce severe storms are possible, mainly during the late afternoon and evening on Sunday, across parts of central, southern Great Plains. So be aware in those areas. Be careful for Sunday. The main thing might be some wind and hail, but there can be some tornado potential as well. That's Sunday. Now Monday, day 4, they still have a slight risk for day 4. This is a relatively large area for like central Texas to western Illinois. So be aware this for Monday. So let's see if they say something. Primary severe potential on day 4 Monday from parts of south central states into the mid Mississippi Valley. Emerging squall lines should develop Monday morning and late day between July 4 across parts of western Texas. They should occur ahead of strong forcing for fluorescent attendant and to impulse a shortwave mid-level max moving through basal portion of the southwest trough. Consensus of guidance so supports positive tilt ejection of this wave. Uh, let's see, yeah, of this wave through central states with a multi-day trend of weaker surface cycle that they should yield meridional deep layer flow across predominant paralleling that the enlarging of a squall line. This will also support large asymmetrical low-level flow regime with the core of the low-level jet rapidly advancing northeast from the south central states towards the southern Great Lakes. This should become increasingly separated from the plume to mid-60 surface dew points that should struggle to traverse beyond mid-Mississippi Valley. So let's see, the degree of instability northward extends to Oklahoma, Kansas across mid-Mississippi Valley is questionable with abundant proceeding convection ahead of the probable scoreline. Primary daytime severe weather may be confined to parts of the Red River Valley in Texas with mid-Mississippi Valley, with weak mid-level lapses limiting stability in the open moist sector along the aforementioned synoptic concerns. Confidence is low on how widespread vigorous severe weather tornado wind potential will be. So I just gave you like a recap on how the conditions will be to support the severe weather, but be careful. This is for Monday. There'll likely be that squall line there with like some potential severe wind and tornadoes, maybe some hail. And day 5 Tuesday, still nothing. So be careful for Monday there. And yeah, so in terms of fire danger, we do have an elevated again part to the northeast mid-Atlantic from like northern Maryland into Connecticut, so be aware there, but nothing that crazy either. So here the map today, we do have some that heavy rain in New Mexico there, and shows the mixed precipitation in the northwest, still in the Dakotas and Minnesota too, northern Wisconsin and parts of the northeast. So beware some heavy snow possible parts of the northwest and some general snow between Idaho and Montana. Day 2, you already see those areas for flash flooding and severe weather, and the storms and more mixed precipitation and some snow the northwest. Day 3, more severe weather, flash flooding, and the mixed precipitation across the west, and some heavier snow in Oregon still. So be aware those areas. Now the excessive rainfall is a slight array in New Mexico today and far western Texas, and a marginal, so be aware there, especially in the slight, some flash flooding possible, and the marginal in Louisiana, Mississippi too. Day 2 is a slight throughout Oklahoma, Texas, and Kansas and Missouri, and a marginal from New Mexico to Iowa. So be aware. And day 3 is area moderate for Sunday, so area moderate risk of excessive rainfall, Oklahoma, Kansas, southwestern Missouri, parts of northwestern Arkansas for Sunday. So really be careful Sunday with some flash flooding there. And then there's the slight from Texas to Illinois and the marginal around it. So be careful there for Sunday. For Monday, still a slight from northern Texas to northern Illinois and a marginal all the way into Wisconsin. Day 5, still a marginal. So be careful. There's their precipitation forecast here. Shows already today in New Mexico close to 2.5 to 3 inches southeastern New Mexico, and more throughout Texas and northern Mexico too, especially to Kansas. Shows some that's general rainfall and snowfall in the northwest there. And then day two, this is Saturday, shows more rain across Oklahoma, Texas from that big line of storms. So this shows here all the way to 4 inches possible parts of Oklahoma, northern Texas, especially Oklahoma there. So be careful tomorrow, some flash flooding potential. Day three has more for Oklahoma, Kansas, and Missouri. It has close to 5 inches in northernmost Oklahoma there. So be aware for Texas, not rain all the way into the Great Lakes. Shows more in central Canada too, and some more in parts of the southern Rockies and the northwest. So be aware. Day 4 still shows some rain all the way from southern Texas to northern Michigan, so a lot of rain in that part of the middle U.S. So be aware. Day 5 does show still some rain along that front there, and some more across the west. Day 6 shows more across the southern U.S. there, especially near the southwest and Florida. Day 7 that does show some more near like Oklahoma, Texas, and some other areas of the central high plains again. So be careful there. But day 1 through 7, that are like 7 inches plus possibly in parts of northern Texas and Oklahoma. They have upwards of 7 inches in the next 7 days. So be careful with this rainfall there. Might be some flash flooding and some dangerous flash flooding at times. And yeah, and the storms and everything, lightning, tornadoes, and hail. So be careful there. Shows more than 3 inches all the way to southern Wisconsin. Shows more rain to Michigan and parts of the northwest in Oregon, close to 4 inches, and some other areas there. So be aware. And the snowfall probabilities does show those bigger snowfall probabilities today. Parts of Idaho and Oregon, especially those mountains of Oregon, the higher elevations there. So be aware in Oregon, and Idaho does show some in northern California, some slight probabilities, and a lot in Washington. In the higher elevations of Washington there, and northern Idaho shows a lot in those areas in southern British Columbia. So be aware. Day 2 shows more across Oregon, especially in the higher central mountains there. Be careful there. Shows more snow parts of Idaho and Washington too, and even northern Utah, parts of Wyoming shows some more. And day 3 shows more in Colorado there, some higher probabilities, and still even Arizona shows a probability there for Sunday, and some other areas for Monday still shows some snowfall probabilities throughout Washington and Oregon, especially like Idaho and Montana and Washington there. Shows some more in New Mexico and in Colorado too. Day 5 some more across the west, some snowfall probabilities for Montana, Wyoming and Idaho. Day 6 shows more in the lower Rockies, and day 7 still shows some probabilities there. So be careful in those areas. Now let's see here the winter storm severity index. Day 1 through 3 still shows in Oregon there some more impacts, especially in the higher elevations of Oregon. Be aware like the snowfall amount is the main impact throughout Idaho and the higher elevations of Washington and Oregon. So be careful if you're on those higher mountains. The snow load, not really much, mainly the snowfall amount there in the Sierra Nevada too. The flash freeze does show some flash freeze potential, like the mountains of southern Oregon, so parts of Idaho. Blowing snow does show like northern California, the mountains of Oregon, some blowing snow. Ground blizzard, not really anything. Nice ice accumulation, and so be careful there. Does show some minor to moderate impacts in Utah and the Rockies of Colorado too. So be aware those areas. Does show those high snowfall probabilities there. Like this is uh, today until Saturday, November 2nd. So today and tomorrow shows some probabilities in like parts of the Sierra Nevada in California, more in Idaho, especially those areas of central to western Idaho. Shows some more in Oregon in the Cascades, especially in Washington, shows some really high snowfall probabilities throughout Washington and southern British Columbia. So be aware. Shows later on Saturday continues there in Washington and British Columbia with more heavier snow. Shows more still in California and the mountains, parts of Idaho and Oregon still. Until Sunday, shows still a lot in the north there. Northern Washington, central Idaho, right, shows more, and some in Oregon still. Until later on Sunday, starts showing a little bit heavier parts of Oregon and not Oregon, but especially this is Idaho for Sunday. Shows more there until Monday. Shows more right in Utah. Some snowfall probabilities across Utah. Some especially in Idaho. And until late Monday, starts showing in Colorado again. Some snowfall probabilities. So be careful there. And like, let's see, shows the freezing rain probabilities. Not really anything. Interestingly enough, it does show some tiny freezing rain probabilities near the, the Dakotas until tomorrow, and isolated in some mountains of the west and some in eastern Quebec. Then until Sunday, some mountains of the west during that snowfall. Sunday, it does show some tiny snowfall probabilities in Saskatchewan until Monday, and yeah, so be aware. Those are like freezing rain probabilities. So, but nothing crazy. And then now, uh, let's see, in terms of the rainfall there from the severe weather, we have some different models here. This is the GFS. It does show close to like 8 inches in the next 5 days. This until Tuesday shows close to 8 to 9 inches parts of northern Oklahoma and Kansas and Missouri. So be careful. Those areas shows more from northern Texas, Oklahoma, and more rain in the northwest there. So, but be careful in those areas, all the way into Illinois. And it does show here like the European. Let's see. So here, so this is until Tuesday. It doesn't show as widespread, but it does show close to 9 inches in parts of northwestern Missouri and Oklahoma, like some 5 inches plus in parts of central eastern Oklahoma, northern Texas some 4, 5, even 6 inches, and yeah, be careful, especially Oklahoma and Arkansas there, and parts of Missouri. So be careful. And then now, wait. Here, let's see. Here, so some different models just for comparison. So there's the Canadian model as well until Tuesday. So let's see if it loads. So until Tuesday, the Canadian model is very crazy there. It shows like 10 inches plus parts of central Oklahoma, that dark brown. So it has closer to like 15 inches parts of central Oklahoma. That will generate a lot of flooding there. But I don't think this much rain will fall. I think like the GFS and the European are more accurate on this. But you never know. BOR has like 5 inches plus from northern Texas, some 8 inches, 7 inches throughout parts of Oklahoma, all the way into Missouri, some 4 or 5 inches. So BOR. But there's like the icon as well. Let's see what it shows. This is until Tuesday still. Shows the icon has way less. It just has some like 5 inches and a half parts of Arkansas and Oklahoma, but the icon is like very little there. So I think there'll be a little bit more than this, like the European is showing, for example. But you never know. There's like, let's see what this model shows. There's the UK model that does show close to like 6 to 8 inches, southern Kansas, northern Oklahoma, some 7 inches, and Missouri, some like 6 to 7 inches, parts of Missouri too, and northern Texas, some 5 to 7 inches in some spots there. So be aware, especially in Kansas and Oklahoma. So this is the UK model. So be aware with that heavy rain coming with those storms. So let's see, the temperature is still kind of hot in the southeast and southern Texas. Some 8 is there, some 70s around it. A little bit colder in the northwest, especially in the mountains. Still some 20s during the day there. So be aware those colder temperatures. But during the night, like Friday until Saturday, so today to tomorrow, so shows some 20s parts of South Dakota, North Dakota, especially in Wyoming, some teens in those purples and some 20s. So be aware of the colder temperatures there. Northern Michigan and both most of Michigan should get some 30s to high 20s Fahrenheit. Shows more 30s across Ohio, Indiana, and Illinois. Those colder temperatures in the morning. It shows in the northeast there too some 30s. So be aware of those colder temperatures. Saturday afternoon, tomorrow, does show more more 80s in the south there, in the southeast. So be aware, and still shows very cold in the higher elevations of Montana and Idaho during the day, and in Wyoming. So be aware. And if this is like this during the day, it indicates that the night will be very cold. So Saturday night to Sunday does show like 20s, 30 is there, especially in the mountains, some 24, 29 Fahrenheit, 22 Fahrenheit parts of Nevada. But in those purplish areas there, like Wyoming and the Sierra Nevada in California, might be all the way to like some teens, 15, 12 Fahrenheit in the higher peaks. So be aware. Shows still a little bit warm in the south, and Saturday night to Sunday shows those colder temperatures in the northeast there, like 26, 27 Fahrenheit, 29 Fahrenheit. So be aware too on Sunday morning. Now Sunday afternoon does show some warmer temperatures again there, close to like some 90 degrees in southernmost Texas. Some 8 is in Florida, parts of the mid-south, and still shows very cold in Wyoming, northern Utah during the day in those mountains there. Mainly the high elevations, the coldest temperatures shows like in the southwest, some 70s as well, but nothing crazy. Sunday night to Monday, especially like Monday morning, shows those very cold temperatures across the west there, still some 20s across the northeast and some 30s, but those areas of the west, let's see like closer in, especially for Wyoming, show like some 11 Fahrenheit, 9 Fahrenheit, 8 Fahrenheit in those higher elevations. In the darker purple must be all the way to like 7, 6 Fahrenheit. So BRS like 23, 17 Fahrenheit in Nevada, 18 Fahrenheit, northern Utah, less than 12 Fahrenheit, 29, 26 Fahrenheit, some 14 Fahrenheit in Colorado, in Oregon too. So be careful in those areas with the cold. Now, Monday afternoon does show here. Let's see if it loads. So here does show still cold during the day in the west there, on the west. So be aware, like in Colorado, Wyoming especially, and this is in the afternoon, so still very cold there. Shows those higher 80s in southern Texas, in Florida, some 80s as well, some 70s all the way into the Midwest and the Southwest, some 60s, 70s. So be aware. And now Monday night to Tuesday does show those very cold temperatures on the west still, especially like in the Rockies in Colorado. So be aware there. Some 20s in parts of Nebraska and the Dakotas, some 30s in northern New England, and some low temperatures all the way to southern New Mexico and Arizona, some 30s, 20s there. So be aware throughout the Sierra Nevada, parts of Nevada, and in Oregon, some 18, 20 Fahrenheit. But let's see like Colorado a little bit closer up. So let's see, this is Monday night to Tuesday. Does show some 9, 10 Fahrenheit in the Rockies there, and some darker purple might be all the way to 8, 7 Fahrenheit. So be careful those colder temperatures there. And show like in the central US during the night some 60s, 50s, and still some 70s in the southeast there. So let's see, day 5 for Tuesday afternoon. Let's just, yes, it's Tuesday. So still shows very cold in the higher elevations of the west, even during the day. It shows still some warmer 80s all the way to 88 in western Florida. So be aware. West southern Texas, not much, but it shows some 70s or low 80s, and some 70s in California and Arizona too. So be aware. Then like Tuesday night until Wednesday. So let's see, especially Wednesday morning shows very cold across the west. Still some 13 Fahrenheit in Wyoming, 22 to 23 Fahrenheit, 28 Fahrenheit, 30 Fahrenheit. So be careful during the night and early morning. If you work very early, stay warm there and at home and everything. So let's see, for example, Wyoming shows all the way to 5 Fahrenheit, so 7, 6 Fahrenheit, 5 Fahrenheit. So it'll be very, very cold from Tuesday night to Wednesday morning in Wyoming. Even so, like 5 Fahrenheit in central Idaho, some 13, 14 Fahrenheit in Nevada, northern Utah. But be aware, there are even some darker purple areas there. There might be close to like 1 Fahrenheit or something. So be aware, Wyoming and all the other areas. So like day 6, this is too slow here. Day 6 during the day shows here. So this is Wednesday, still shows those days in the southeast and some 70s in the south, but still cold in across the northwest during the day. Wednesday night to Thursday does show still, let's see, those colder temperatures across uh, northern Colorado, central Colorado, especially Wyoming and Utah there, and some dark purple in northern Colorado, though that very dark purple might be close to like 4 Fahrenheit or something. So be aware, very cold, very cold across Nevada, eastern California, and Idaho, and all those areas there. And day 7 does show like during the day on Thursday, some is in the southeast and a little bit colder across the west still. So be aware those areas. Now, uh, the the rainfall accumulation just in the next 24 hours, not 48 hours from the National Weather Service. They do have those 4 to 5 inches in Texas and Oklahoma there, those areas and across the northwest. But with the 48 hour snowfall, they do have here that snow in the northwest there. Shows a tiny hint or two in the northeast, but like very little and almost nothing. So the snow will be really across the northwest, the Sierra Nevada in California, in Idaho, especially like central northern Idaho, in Utah too shows more snow, Wyoming, especially in Oregon and Washington there, that heavier snow in the mountains. So be aware those areas. So let's just I'll try to show you something here, like the European model, because this is very slow today, but let's take a look. So this like the European model, because I showed you the temperatures for all the days, but I want you to keep in mind that the wind chills might feel colder than the actual temperatures. So depending on the day and everything, the wind chills might be colder. So let's see, for example, next Tuesday, Wednesday or something. So here, this is next Monday, around 6 So I think this is early enough. Let's see. These are the wind chills. The does show like, let's zoom in further here, like regional, so northwest. So does show like this is Monday morning. It depends on the model. Each model might have a different thing, but the European model has some very cold wind chills northwest and Wyoming, closer to like 0 Fahrenheit in those darker, most purples, so like -5 Fahrenheit or something, the wind chills. So it shows -2 there. And then some parts of Idaho, some 2 Fahrenheit wind chills, 6 Fahrenheit, 15 Fahrenheit. So be aware in those areas. And a day later, on like Wednesday morning or something, or 2 days later, So let's see, this Wednesday at 0 C shows the wind chills like those higher mountains. They're close to -6 Fahrenheit, some 2 Fahrenheit in other areas, 0 Fahrenheit wind chills. So be aware in those areas. It might feel colder than it actually is, and the same thing goes for Canada there. So let's see. So the warnings now, this change all the time. So this link is in the description. You can check there. But they do have those red flag warnings there for the fire danger in the northeast, the flash flood watches and flood watches across New Mexico and Oklahoma already, winter weather advisories in California, Oregon, and Washington, and the winter storm warnings in northern Washington and Oregon. So wind advisories in a place or two of California, high wind watch. So yeah, BR. So winter weather advisories in northern Alaska, some heavy freezing spray warnings, and the storm warnings in the ocean there in Alaska. So be aware. So maybe yeah, this is it. So be aware there. They have there in Canada, in Alberta, such a lot like fog advisories. This mainly this morning, so you see change now when I click to change. So they have the freezing drizzle advisory and parts of Alberta. So just for reference, like northeastern, northwestern Alberta there, those areas across like northwestern Alberta, the freezing drizzle advisory. If you click here, so like areas of freezing drizzle expected or occurring. So BR, these conditions are expected to improve by Saturday morning. So BR, this is like a light version of freezing rain, like freezing drizzle. In Nunavut, a snowfall warning there. In a city, shows like snowfall continues and further 5 to 10 centimeters of snow will fall today. Gusty northerly winds will reduce visibility and blowing snow at times. It shows in Yukon there a blizzard warning Dempster. So BR blizzard conditions, gusty winds, and and visibility near zero, snow, blowing snow expected or occurring, and when until today until Saturday morning. So beware. And they have a lot of good information, like some remarks here. You can read further. So this link is in the description as well, and also the link for the marine warnings in Canada. So be aware. Uh, the snowfall or like, let's just quickly see this. So it does show those patches of freezing drizzle there in Alberta, and snow shows more snow in parts of Alaska, and shows there this is Friday, shows some snow drizzles in Quebec there today until Saturday. This is the European model. Each model might have a different, but that shows a freezing rain to northern Saskatchewan tomorrow Saturday. A lot of mixed snow, wet snow, and even some freezing rain like northern Washington, southern British Columbia shows more snow there, and some spots of freezing rain, and more rain along the coast there. So along the coast it mostly be rainfall, more snow for most of British Columbia, in the mountains. This is already Sunday, shows more snow there into Yukon, and this model showing a bigger freezing rain event for Manitoba on Monday. So this is like Sunday night and early Monday morning, shows more freezing rain like central northern Manitoba Monday, and this goes away there. But be aware. And just for comparison, the GFS is also showing some freezing rain there, but not as much as the European. So yeah, be aware. And then Monday shows more scattered snowfall from Northern Territories, Northwestern Territories, Yukon, and Nunavut. Does show that bigger front in Ontario and Quebec, like on November 5th, with some freezing rain in eastern Quebec on Tuesday. Shows more snow and mixed precipitation in Labrador, like Tuesday and Wednesday, especially Wednesday, and more snow throughout central northern Quebec and Labrador Wednesday there. So be aware. And then it has another system in Alaska starting next Monday. Shows some more snow southeastern Alaska, a freezing rain or two, but then shows goes into Yukon. Next Wednesday does show some freezing rain probabilities in British Columbia, southern Alaska. Then it goes there, some snow to Nunavut, Northwestern Territories, And then it does have this part of the snow that next Thursday going to like northern Alberta with some freezing rain, and even Saskatchewan later, and it does have more systems on the west coast, even after that, especially in Alaska and British Columbia. So be aware. The snowfall accumulations until Sunday does show more snow drizzles central northern Quebec, especially northern Quebec, shows that heavier snow southern Alaska in the mountains, some snow northern Alaska, some drizzles there, central Alaska, more snow from southern Alaska, British Columbia, some other areas, some more a snow shower to about Yukon, Northwestern Territories, and then northern Saskatchewan, Manitoba, especially like in Alberta, shows a snow or two. And then if I put this in until next Wednesday, alright, shows a lot of snow British Columbia and parts of Alberta, especially in the mountains. Shows more is southern Alaska, some very big amounts in those mountains there, and throughout central southeastern Alaska shows some more snow. In Yukon shows some more. Shows more snow like central northern Quebec there. Ontario, just northernmost Ontario, might get a finger or two, but does show this thing central southern Manitoba, like 4 centimeters, and shows a lot across the Rockies and western U.S. there. Some, especially Washington, Colorado, and more snow in the next 5 days across those areas. The GFS has a similar thing, some snow in Atlantic Canada as well, some more northern Quebec and Labrador, and across the western US there. And it has a lot across like British Columbia, southern Alaska, northern Washington, and parts of northern Idaho, into Alberta, and some snow in Saskatchewan. So be aware. There's the icon too, shows that snow scattered across the west there, and more snow like British Columbia next 5 days in some areas there. And yeah, be aware. And let's see. And the name in the next 2 days, it does have more snow uh, there. Washington and Oregon, and some areas have even a tiny thing or two. Arizona, New Mexico, more snow in the Sierra Nevada and Idaho, basically all those mountain areas there, of the west. The name has some snow and some in North Dakota too. And like the wind gust. Now the NAM does have some stronger winds near the west there, like here. Sorry, here. So does show some spots like 44 to 50 mile per hour gusts in Oregon, especially like Northern California, some gusty winds, and then Saturday tomorrow does have a little bit gusty winds southern Montana, some gusty winds those storms. And Sunday the 3rd does have this field of stronger gusts. In all those areas along that trough there, with that cold front and everything, some 40 to 41 mile per hour gusts, and some more on the mountains of the west too, especially on Sunday night across the Sierra Nevada there. So yeah, be aware. There's the European model too, shows a little bit gusty winds in Oregon, Northern California, the rest of today, and still like in the northeast, those gusty winds, and in New Hampshire, Maine, and southern Quebec, parts of Vermont. So be aware, northern New York, and this goes there out there. Might be a little bit windier in Atlantic Canada and some areas of Quebec and Labrador, a little bit windier. It shows across the west, so shows that this new system coming does show some stronger winds uh, near the coast of California on Sunday. This is not on the coast, this is on the ocean there, but if you're like sailing far away, be aware. And it does show those systems in Alaska. There's this system now in Alaska showing those very strong winds in the Aleutian Islands, and then this goes there. might leave some gusty winds near southern Yukon, British Columbia, all the way into Alberta on like Sunday. It shows another very big system in Alaska on November 4th. So this is the European model. Some other models might have a different, but the European model has all the way to 83 mile per hour gusts in the Aleutian Islands on November 4th. The icon has it a little bit further south, and but then it comes there and it's like 75 or more mile per hour gusts, and the GFS does have some gusty winds too. So BOR those areas. So yeah, then November 4th, and before that, part of British Columbia does show on Monday the 4th as well. This system might arrive on the coast there, shows some very gusty winds, parts of British Columbia, northern Washington, like 60 mile per hour gusts, 55 mile per hour gusts, northernmost Oregon, but especially in Washington there. This is Monday, eventually gets into Montana there, starts like 54 mile per hour gusts, on like Tuesday the 5th, Marcos, Washington, and northern Oregon, so beware, more than 40-50 mile per hour gusts. And then shows some gusty winds in Wyoming and Tuesday the 5th, across Montana still some gusty winds, and then maybe on the southwest later Wednesday, especially in the Sierra Nevada. So BOR is still showing like late on early Thursday, late Wednesday, some stronger winds in some scared areas of the southwest. So BOR. But now here. So on Monday the 4th, when this arrives, shows in parts of British Columbia some 78 mile per hour gusts, although not mile per hour, this kilometer per hour. So although some 87 kilometer per hour gusts, those higher mountains, and does show like some others, some 102 kilometer per hour gusts, 105 in Vancouver Island, and it does show all the way to 110 kilometer per hour northern Washington. That there might be like some 65 mile per hour or something. So BOR shows more in some areas there in southern Alberta. Those stronger winds, southern Alberta shows Monday. Those winds increase a little bit more in southern Alberta. In central Alberta. So BOR, this goes there, and we might have some occasional gusty winds throughout northwestern territories, the mountains, British Columbia, and some mountainous areas there. And then this goes, and the European has like this big system entering southern Alaska and British Columbia, and it has like on Thursday the 7th, starting 95 kilometer per hour gust across British Columbia, some stronger gusts too, especially later on Thursday across some areas of northeastern British Columbia, as well as 112, 113 kilometer per hour gusts per parts of British Columbia next Thursday the 7th. So be aware there. This goes shows crossing Alberta and Saskatchewan next Friday the 8th. Some gusty winds shows more systems on the west after November 9th. So be aware. There's those a little bit gusty winds in northern Quebec and Labrador today, and does show these systems setting up there with some stronger winds around Quebec and Labrador on Wednesday, November 6th, close to more than 70 kilometer per hour gusts. So be aware. Newfoundland too next Thursday, and yeah, be aware those areas. Now the rain accumulation does show until the next Wednesday that a little bit heavy rain like southern Ontario and some rain in Quebec there, southern Quebec more rain. The snow will be mainly central northern Quebec, but does show some rain in Nova Scotia, Newfoundland too, and show like this is until Wednesday. Shows more in parts of Manitoba and Ontario, especially on the coast of British Columbia, some 122 millimeters, southern Alaska a lot there. So be aware those areas shows more because that's mainly snow in the mountains of Alaska, but there might be some rain too. So be aware in those areas, and still very cold, like -11, -17, so very cold still. Those areas of the west, -3, -4. So be aware. In the afternoon, it comes up a little bit in the south, so 9 or 10 degrees, but and at night it comes back down again, especially like Alberta, British Columbia, and Nunavut, northwestern territories, those very cold temperatures. Doesn't show much on Sunday morning around Manitoba, Saskatchewan, but there will be some colder temperatures central northern Ontario. It shows it coming all the way down to southern Quebec, those colder temperatures in the northeast, like I showed you before, and New Brunswick, those -4, -3, -4 in Quebec, even northern Quebec and Labrador, those -8, -7. So BR Sunday afternoon it does warm up a little bit, but still coldish, and like Monday morning still shows those colder temperatures across Quebec and Labrador, and the cold across the west there. So be aware. Like Monday, uh, actually Tuesday morning does show a little bit warmer ahead of that cold front, close to 21 degrees southern Ontario Tuesday afternoon, but does show those colder temperatures behind that across the northwest and the west, more still in Labrador and Quebec, shows this goes there, and might be like Wednesday morning, central Ontario, Quebec, some colder temperatures, and most of the west, negative temperatures there. During the day, so some lower elevations get like some not negative temperatures, but at night it cools down a lot. But this like Thursday does show a pocket of a little bit warmer temperatures, British Columbia and Alberta, but very cold around that, and it fluctuates a lot. So be aware those areas, especially the wind chills. It shows that in Alaska still very cold, especially in northern Alaska, though like -21 Fahrenheit. This is Celsius. So like some 17 Fahrenheit, 4 Fahrenheit, 3 Fahrenheit. So be aware. You'll be less cold in the Aleutian Islands because of the oceans and forests, and southeastern Alaska from time to time, but very cold in the other areas. So be aware. Some areas are like Anchorage shows for 41 sometimes, but in other times some 26 to 26 Fahrenheit, 32.